everyone! Today I wanted to share the Greymon and Yagami Taichi figure produced by MegaHouse. Now it's funny because I order these figures, these MegaHouse exclusive figures from Crunchyroll, because these are one of the authorized vendors, but they usually ship this with a shipping box. They don't just ship it in the MegaHouse exclusive box. But for this one they decided not to do that just because of how ginormous the box is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out so we can see the actual figure box. I really lucked out that nothing happened during the shipping process because there wasn't any padding whatsoever, which is common with the MegaHouse boxes. The exclusive boxes don't generally have any padding, they just have tissue paper. For this particular figure though, there was this plastic wrapped around him instead. Probably because it would have taken a bit more tissue paper to cover him with just because of the size of this giant box. But in any case, he did arrive safely. There's a little bit of bangs on the one edge, but it's not that big of a deal. The box itself is made with a sturdier cardboard than is usually used for standard figure boxes. So it's kind of like the kind of cardboard you see when you ship stuff out. You know that it's serrated, I think is the word. It's probably not. So it's not completely smooth, but they had to use something more, you know, more protective for this particular box because of how big it is. The print quality is very nice and I like the use of the colors that they had. I think it really makes the characters stand out, and I like the uniqueness of the, you know, cutouts for the windows. Like there's, you know, claw marks right here, so that's really cool. And then on the top here, let me turn it around the right way. On the top here, you know, it's an attack, so that's really nifty. The bottom of the box is pretty plain. It's just a silhouette of the characters, you know, claw marks, and the name. Okay, let's bust him open. Alright, so here are the characters in the blister packaging. You can barely see, you know, Tai at all because he's just hanging out right there. And Greymon really just takes the scene with this. He wasn't too heavy, like it's not a huge heavy figure, which I am happy about. Like I can't imagine like how much this would weigh on one of your higher shelves if he was very heavy. But I'm gonna go ahead and take them out of their plastic prison so you can take a look at the actual figures. Okay, so let's take a look at Taichi. Now this figure does have a few paint defects, most of which I am a little bit forgiving about just because they're in places that you won't really notice, or because, you know, Greymon really just takes up the scene for this particular figure. I think they did a really nice job on his face. They captured a really nice expression for him. I really like the top of his head and the swirl effect that's going on right there. I think it was sculpted very nicely. There is one part here that wasn't painted too well. You can see the white speck right there, so they missed the brown somehow. You can also see a bit of white all around that general area right there. The goggle lines are painted nicely though. There's a lot of blue seeping into the yellow on the collar and on the, you know, sleeves right here of the shirt. You can see it most prevalent here on this edge right there. And there's like it's really blue and then it kind of fades into like greenish color right there, as you can see on the sleeves. And there's another problem here. You can see that little bit of blue right there on the collar, but it's not that big of a deal because it's the back of the shirt, so I'm not going to be like, MegaHouse, what are you doing, you know? The pants are actually painted the shorts are painted very nicely, and they're nicely shaded. It kind of looks like the bottom of this glove here. I don't know if you're going to be able to catch it on camera, but it looks kind of speckled and dirty. But that's really no big deal. It's going to be on Greymon's back, so or on top of him, so it's not going to be a problem at all. The shoes are alright. They're not too bad. You can also move his head up and down and side to side a little, so you can adjust the pose as you would like to. And here is Greymon himself. I think they did a really good job on this figure. There are paint defects here and there, which I'll share with you guys. But look at the eye detailing. They even have like, you know, some wrinkles right there. It looks really cool. And his horns look good. There aren't any problems really with these, this part of his head. The same, you know, wrinkle detail on this eye. And he's not exactly light. I mean, he's lighter than a figure like this would be if it was solid, but he is a little bit heavy, so he has some nice weight to him. Look at those wrinkles right there. This is so good. And it has a lot of shading and whatever throughout the figure, so that's really nice. But here's some of like the problems. You know, these have some brown on them, which isn't really a big deal at all, and you can't really notice it unless you tilt him a certain way, so I'm not too bummed about it. His tongue looks so good. The same thing here with these bottom teeth. And right here you'll notice that there's like the same problem that Tai had on his shirt, where there's some of the blue seeping into the orange. And that's present throughout all the figure, but it's the most, it's the worst right here on this part of the mouth. This side wasn't as bad, but you can see some problems right here with painting. Some of the browns right there as well, and on the teeth and right there. There are, of course, this is a very big figure, so they had to sculpt it in pieces and put it together, but MegaHouse did try to incorporate the pieces in a way that wouldn't be too noticeable, and they succeeded for most of it except the tail. But I mean, I'm not gonna downgrade them for that because it would have been hard to hide seam lines anyway. But like what they did here is they made it on the neck, so like this is another piece of the figure, but they try to make it so it looks natural, like it's just part of the, you know, muscles right there. My arm's getting tired holding him up. Imagine how heavy this would have been otherwise. These open holes right here where you're supposed to put Taichi are a little like not very polished, so that kind of, like, I don't know if it's just because of the material that Greymon was made with that they couldn't make it too polished. Look at these back muscles. You can see right here how they sculpted it like that. Sorry, I need to put him down for a second. He's very heavy. Alright, this is where the seam lines are most noticeable. Obviously the tail, you can see like a little bit, like it's kind of open right there. They didn't make it that great, but you know, it's not that big of a deal, and it's on the back of the figure. The lines are okay. I think it's good that they're not like exactly straight in some places just because of the character. So I think it worked out on that aspect. You can see a ton of shading, you know, on him as well. Look at these powerful thigh muscles. He looks so good. Now on this part of the foot, you see the his toenails right here. It looks like they have some excess white paint on it a little bit. It's not that noticeable and not that big of a deal. It's like, and you can barely tell, but it's like right there. There's a little bit like white on top of it. But it blends in because it's the color of the figure itself. Equally nice thigh muscles there. And there he is. Now there is no base for this figure because Greymon is the base. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Tai in his back so we can take a look at the figure, you know, all put together. I did want to show what I discovered as I was putting him in. You'll see that if you put his hand in like this, like he's not sculpted in a way that his feet meets Greymon's like the back of his neck. So you actually have to like bend it to make it work, to make it fit, which can be scary, because you think you might break the figure. But this is plastic, so he is going to be okay. Just be very, very careful as you're doing it. And like for the hand, I didn't put it all the way in. You can see a bit of the peg just because I'm scared of bending it too much. So just so you're aware when you get this figure, if you're getting them as well, you do have to bend it a little bit, but he should be okay. He is plastic. After putting him in, I do want to say that the leg, his left foot right here, the peg went in pretty easily and it's in all the way. This peg on his hand is not in all the way. I only pushed it in a little, a little bit in there. It's like halfway in, I'd guess. The peg right here on his right foot, you can still very much see it. I don't really want to give too much force for this, even though if it is plastic and it is bendable. I don't think it'll be too big of a deal if it's showing it, because it's on the back. You can't really see it, and people are going to be focusing on Greymon, so it's better to be safe than to break this. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys, just in case when you're putting this together. And let me pull this up a little bit. Hopefully I turn all the way around. If not, I might have to remove the backdrop. But here's the figure fully put together. From the angle I have this in, you can't see Tai at all. Look how massive Greymon is. Oh my goodness. This is just the biggest figure I own. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up so you can see it from the top down. So I kind of feel like this would look better on a lower shelf, or a shelf that's, in the middle, than your top shelf, because if you put it on your top shelf, you're not going to be able to see Tai at all. Okay. Here they are from the top. And you can adjust, like I mentioned before, Tai's head, so if you want to make it a little straighter than I had it, you can. And so you can't really notice the peg unless you're looking from this side. I just wish that they had sculpted him in a way that you don't really have to bend the plastic, because it could be worrisome, especially if you're a newer collector. Gosh, this is such a cool figure. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and go show you a comparison with an animal, just so you can see how big Greymon actually looks. Here they are with a kitty cat for scale. Now, this would have probably worked better if my kitty was a regular sized house cat, if there is such a thing. He's part Maine Coon, so he's a little bit bigger than the average kitty cat that people have. But you can still see how really big these figures are when I put him next to another G.E.M scale figure. Right here is a 1/8 Zoro from the Pop line. You can see that Greymon's just a bit taller than he is right there. Especially when you count his horns and all that. My cat likes putting sharp things up his nose, I don't know why. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that you're able to get these figures if you're on the lookout for them. MegaHouse exclusive figures can be purchased really directly from the Bandai store, as well as certain retailers that are authorized to sell them, like Crunchyroll. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!